Well, let's talk more about potential threats and indeed some of the benefits, the way in which AI technologies might be a solve and play a role across the year of global election cycles. Christopher Ahlberg's with us. He's CEO of threat intelligence cloud platform Recorded Future. Christopher, your expertise here, let's just dwell on what we were hearing from Kurt. The fact that there's some optimism that everyone's focused on it. So we won't be able to have this sort of level of misinformation and deepfakes that we're worried about. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, first of all, I love optimism, just to be clear, so that's good. And second, the amazing thing is that we're actually are sort of able to collect all this data. We can organize it, we can analyze it, and we can sort of look for what's anomalous, the stuff that does stand out. And I think it's fair to say that the sort of the big things, if somebody does that deep fake, whether it's Joe Biden or Trump, and, we're going to be able to find that. You may not even need an algorithm, I think is the real point. I actually worry more about the subtle stuff when somebody in a sub-district in Ohio somewhere that is the place which is actually going to make the difference whether an election goes left or right, where somebody may not even have to introduce fake stuff, but they just need to manipulate the actual news stream of actual events happening. There's much more subtle manipulation that I think we need to watch for. And these big deep fakes, that will be sorted. I don't worry too much about that.
So let's hypothesize.
It's pretty good, Teflon-wise anyway, so.
I mean, Christopher, hypothesize, there's a manipulated photo of the local polling station where you might go and cast your vote. These sorts of more intricate, smaller scale issues that really impact certain moves within certain states and geographies, then how do we as a nation give the average consumer confidence that they're not being manipulated?
So I think that's going to take a long time. This is not going to happen overnight. The good news is that, when we heard Paul Nakasone from NSA, who just stepped down from NSA, say the other day that, look, the sort of his view was that our election as we come into 2024 is going to be the safest on record. So that's good to hear. Now, it's an interesting year. The U.S. has a big election. You can count 20, you can actually count 40 major elections in the world around, sort of here, in the full year. UK, Singapore, or Indonesia, India, wherever you want to go, there's big elections. So I don't think we're going to get confidence on this in the short order. There's ways we can deal with these problems, but the cat is out of the bag. And I think it's going to take some time before we can get back to a place of confidence. It's not going to happen overnight.
The challenge here is the same as we see in the cybersecurity context, that there is access to artificial intelligence technology for defense, and the threat actors have access to the same artificial intelligence technology. In the context of this election, how do you feel about who has the balance of competence of how to use it? The threat actors or companies like yours who aim to help fight back and prevent things spreading like AI-generated content?
So first of all, the good news is the United States have the best AI technology in the world. I think we've actually done work in our own analysis here at Recorded Future where we've gotten our hands on the sort of tip-top best Russian and Chinese AI and using whatever methods, we'll leave it at that, to get our hands on it and playing with it and, doing all kinds of interesting stuff with it. It's not as good as what we have here. So the good news is the U.S. is ahead, and it's important that we keep being ahead. And I think there are incredible ways that we can apply this sort of intelligence to be able to discern malicious information, among other things. So there's great ways we can help with that. And to your point, it's no different with sort of general cybersecurity, general intelligence, and what we're talking about here in disinformation. But we're going to have to keep investing. We're going to have to be aggressive. We have to be careful so that we don't put big regulatory stamps or stops in the way of staying ahead. Again, the U.S. has a bit of Europe because of regulatory sort of being a little bit more permissive over here. So we have a lot of good news for us, but we've got to keep that.
Christopher Ahlberg, CEO of Recorded Future. We appreciate the optimism on this show. Thank you. Now, coming up, we're going to discuss all things European venture capital.